To record your audio.
Oh,
So.
good idea.
So, bridge vent, nicely done. There's actually a solar-powered vent fan up there
Which
For the upper bathroom?
for the attic.
For the attic?
yeah,
Oh,
which
wow.
actually has all the documentation in that
Good.
book.
So it reaches a certain temperature, thermostat kicks on, starts automatically, and it's solar-powered.
Nice.
Yeah. So here's the other dormer roof going off this section. The one thing I would say, and it's common to older homes, originally this home probably had cedar shake on it, and when they change it to a comp roof, they've changed the venting characteristics of this, so they put this beautiful ridge vent on. They don't really have anything on the lower soffit areas. This is your exhaust, and the lower soffit areas would be the intake. No signs of it causing any problem up there, so just kind of monitor and see if you start to get kind of a weird, higher moisture level up there you notice, then you might want to put some venting down below. Right now, I'm not seeing anything like that up there.
Sorry, venting into the attic?
Yeah, the attic space collects moisture and heat,
Yeah.
and that's why they put this vent on top, so it actually comes out the top right below this
I
cap.
see.
So your intake is the lower part of the roof. So
Yeah.
as this heats up, now they've kind of accomplished that with
The
that
vent.
The
fan,
solar vent.
right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why it's okay right now. So
I see.
they might have gotten by that effect. So this is the bath fan. There was a little bit of lint in there. I was making sure that wasn't the dryer. We had an upstairs dryer, so you're not supposed to have that screen in. So here's your fireplace. So there's that's probably the furnace. That's probably this gas insert, and then that was just a original fireplace.
Right.
That's the
Where
garage.
does the kitchen fan vent to?
There is actually an outside vent right here
So it goes horizontally?
on the sidewall.
I see.
Right. So that's the garage roof. There's some debris on that. This is a very low pitch. It's probably too low for that style of shingle, but no signs of leaks. And if this was on a house, I would say it's not about it, but it's on a garage.
Yes.
So it just lets the water dwell in there a long, long time before it gets off.
Yeah.
So the pitch is pretty flat. And there's the two skylights that open up. That actually will create a huge draw effect, like on a hot summer day. If you'll crack those open a little bit, it'll really pull the hot air out of the house.
Right.
And our driveway, like I talked about, just patching any trip hazards and any really broken up pieces. There's quite a bit down by the driveway here too, from the tree roots and stuff.
Yeah.
So really like the outside siding's in great shape. All the trim work on the windows is good. They actually have a metal flashing right there above the casing, so that actually protects the top joint. So there used to be a little porch patio underneath that back deck out there. It's the original still there. But there's that dryer vent, so you can see there's quite a bit of lint around that.
This is underneath the kitchen outkick.
Right below us.
I see.
Yeah, on this little kick out.
Yeah. Sorry, can you just point out the lint on it?
Right here.
Around the outside. of
Yeah,
it?
and the cover, so.
Right.
It's just making sure, like if it takes more than one time to dry your clothes, like 2 cycles, that means that that's starting to really start to back up and get clogged.
Right.
So there would be the dormers that you could add the venting to, but like I said, looks like they've solved that with the powered vent. And we talked about the basement stairwell. No hand railing, no drain, but it is covered pretty
Yes.
much. So
That's probably why it's so dirty, because dirty water gathers there and doesn't run out anywhere.
So this is when I first was on the outside, noticing that we had a crawl space somewhere. So that's just one of the outside vents. There was the original tie line. That's where the downspouts used to connect to, which was cement, and then they abandoned it and went to that. So having that could contribute to the settling over here, and our waistline not working properly could contribute to it also. So those two
Yeah.
things can make foundations move like that.
I see.
And there's your gas meter on that side. So one little settling crack right out front there on the west side. I'll show you the inside shot of that. There's the main beam of the house attaches right there, and so there's a corner cut out, and that's what started that. It's kind of a weak area, a tension area, so nothing to do with that really. And a little bit of settling here at the front porch. You can see it's dropped a little bit, pretty normal. So when they poured this new piece of cement, it kind of buried the siding in here a little bit, the shingles, maybe about an inch. No signs of decay there, and it just sloped away from the house.
So water can drain.
Right, so just kind of watch that area. They shouldn't have buried that in the concrete, but they did.
Yeah.
Huh.
Okay.
I saw it from the other side. I could see just. I said, "Was that a fire?" there?
No,
But they
I
did that on
wonder why
purpose,
they did that.
just to give it some contrast and to
Oh.
hide it. So, two safety systems on garage doors. You've got the main beam. You interrupt the beam, the door goes back.
Yeah.
The other one is resistance setting. So if you send the door down, you try and stop it. It should sense there's something in the way.
Yeah.
And it didn't. It just kept going. So there's adjustments right on the opener where you adjust the screws, and it will make it more sensitive to that.
I see. Those
So
are
the-
safety to stop someone being crushed underneath
Your
the door.
car, a kid, whatever,
Right.
a bike, anything. So if it's not interrupting the beam, the door doesn't know that it can't. The tension's not right. It will keep going.
I always wondered that about Star Trek, because the doors in Star Trek were so dangerous.
So you aren't really sealed here on the top wall between you and the next door neighbor. It's kind of open, so
Yeah.
there is access to whoever wants to come in, animals and whatever. So no signs of anything coming in there, but
Right.
just to know that you're not totally sealed.
I see.
Don't store the crown jewels on your side of the garage.
So pretty good space in there. Looks fine. This was the floor that kind of followed the wall, moving down a little bit.
Yeah.
And these aren't, originally probably didn't have cement down there, so somebody came in and put that in there, and it's very thin, so that's why they're prone to moving.
Right.
It's not like a structural floor like they put in a basement today, so. Hot water tank, just know that it's older. Immediately those need to be replaced, the dielectric connectors. Just
Like
so you know-
immediately within the coming year?
as soon as you move in, or
I see.
before, yeah, because that's gonna leak real quick.
I see.
Not the tank, but actually the connector's gonna leak.
What are they called?
Dielectric connectors. Pardon me.
How much
So-
does that cost?
They're very inexpensive. Maybe
Okay.
$20-30
Right.
for the parts.
Right.
Yeah. The plumber to do
And
it
then
probably
200 for the
100.
rate.
Exactly. And you've dealt with plumbers. Just a general service on this. Looks real clean, started up and fired real well.
How frequently do they have to be serviced?
The older they get, the more often you need to service them.
Yeah.
Each burner has a heat exchanger. The heat exchanger gets so many heating and cooling cycles, and eventually it does crack.
Right.
Now you're mixing combustion air and house air, and that's what you never want to have happen. So
Yeah.
the service technician is looking inside these heat exchangers to make sure we're not having cracking
Yeah.
and the flow and everything. So it's just, as they get older, they're more prone to the crack showing up. So
They just had some service done on that and had a part replaced.
it's
Is
a
it noted on there?
2012 was the last service on there.
Yeah, so that was
And-
just, I think it was in December though,
Okay, good.
before they went on the market.
If they have documentation saying that, then that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it talks about the part, but it doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay. As long as there was a service done also and not just a part replacement, as long as they were looking at everything else, then
Okay,
that's fine.
yeah.
And just watch your head on the ductwork. And there was a couple of the bands that were open, allowing some air to, that's the return air. So, not a huge deal.
Okay, but they should really be closed?
You should seal them up. Yeah, they should be taped up. And,
Right.
Yeah. So there's our outside windows that they've blocked off. That's in the back corner there. So another little settling crack off the back on that corner right by the window over there. Again, the real settling cracks you really want to be worried about is if you get a rotational movement, if the two walls are moving at a different rate or pace,
Yeah.
that's more of a concern. That's probably an earthquake or settling crack that appeared.
I see.
So it's not like the rotational crack, it's more of a serious concern.
Sorry, rotation in which direction is the
When the
problem?
two walls are moving at different ways,
I see.
that's when you've got uneven settling going on.
But
and
if they're
that's-
both going down and one's going down faster than the other, then
that
that's
could be a
what
different type of
happens?
movement, like a shear movement, but
Yeah.
if you just get this kind of a movement that's, if they've cracked a little bit, then that's normal settling, and that could be an earthquake crack even.
Right. That's the dielectrics, is it?
Yeah, that's the dielectrics.
Good.
Yeah. So my concern is somebody walking off this direction, because the handrail's over here, but there's really no guardrail in that last few steps.
Right.
So just be very careful on that. And there's some of the loose asbestos tape that's right above the furnace body.
Yeah.
When you look up.
And so the asbestos tape, you say, isn't in general a problem, but presumably if it's loose and gets worked, then it is a problem.
Right. So that technically is loose.
Yeah.
It's not, sealed or so that's what the report says. If you find loose, remove it, follow all the codes, or properly protect it.
Right.
You can leave it in place if it's sealed.
How would we seal it?
Duct tape actually works. They make actually special paints that you can put on that. That actually will.
Is it something that we as homeowners would do, or something that we need to get a trained professional?
That's what you guys are gonna have to.
Where is that?
That's right above the furnace. Now a lot of the other ductworks coming up through the closets have asbestos on them, and it's in pretty good shape. They're all sealed. So it's just this, loose stuff like this.
Okay.
So our TPR drain line, having that routed somewhere.
TPR
besides
was thermal pressure relief.
temporary pressure release valve connected to the drain line right there, yes. And they've blocked those off because they're using the gas insert as the heat in the living room area. So let me back up to this shot. So you have a powered vent here at the furnace. You have a natural draft vent connected here. And
Sorry,
it's
a
connected-
powered vent going
powered
out.
vent, right, so the furnace has
to
an
the furnace.
inducer fan which actually powers the exhaust out. So that's blowing the air up through the chimney system. This is a natural draft vent, so it only works by having the combustion gases on, flowing up, and just naturally rising.
Yeah.
When those two meet in a T fitting like this, there's potential for air to be
Backdraft.
pushed back
Yeah.
down here. When I first fired it up, I was running a lot of water in the hot tub and to make the tank turn on, and then I turned the furnace on, and I wanted to see if I could cause that, and I did. And you can see that the mirror's fogged up, which means combustion gases are coming out the wrong way.
Yeah.
As soon as the blower kicked on, it reversed and it pulled it all out. So it's only momentarily. So in the furnace service clause, I'm going to ensure we don't have backdrafting. If you have a really bad backdrafting problem, all this will be discolored and kind of melted, and you can tell right away.
Right.
So it's not a serious one, but we just want to make sure the furnace person looks at that just to make sure it's not an ongoing future condition.
I didn't understand. You said the problem went away as soon as
The main blower kicked off of the furnace.
to pump the hot air. So we said the furnace heat has already turned on, but it hasn't yet started blowing the heat
Blowing
into the house.
right.
And as soon as it does blow heat into the house, then this problem went away. I don't
I
understand
don't know
why
if,
that would
I
make
don't,
it go
well, I
away.
don't know if that was it or not. It might have been just the initial firing,
Right.
and then when everything got kind of balanced out, and then it kind of went away. So it's only like the first 10 seconds of operation that is doing that,
Right.
and then it did clear up. Now, if we continue to have gases coming out, that's a more serious problem.
Oh, can I ask a question? So
Sure.
we're looking at the top of the water heater.
Right.
So, I'm sorry. Is this because the water heater is being stressed because you ran a lot of hot water in the bathroom? And so the hot water heater's running?
It's
not
running.
hot yet?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. And that's what I wanted to do, is cause that collision of the gases in the flue to see which way they were going,
Okay.
to make
Yeah.
sure they were going outside. So, not
So what's coming out could be just hot water gases
or
from the
furnace-
hot tank, or they
furnace.
might be there. You
Right.
could tell if there were furnace tanks by just running the furnace without the water and seeing if it fogs up.
Right, and it didn't do that.
Okay,
So it was only when the two were running.
okay,
was
so
the
it probably
issue.
is just the initial thing. The hot water tank isn't making an inroads right yet, until eventually it establishes.
Everything
a
has to
flow.
kind of get warmed up
Yeah.
for it to follow the right flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so you get to see the electrical panel there. We are missing that one bushing right there on the wire. Right there. Some of the windows in the bedrooms were painted shut. They're not working right now. So in bedrooms, it's important in case there's a fire in the hallway and you have to get out the bedroom. Here, you just push them out because it's just paint holding on. But
Right.
the start of the one failed seal. I don't even know if it's worth mentioning. It's the very top upper small blue one. So that was the only one.
Did you know which bedroom that's in?
This corner bedroom over here, the south.
The ground
east
floor bedroom.
Yeah.
Oh, the ground floor.
Right.
Because some of these windows are newer and they're under warranty.
So our cracked sink, both bathroom vanity sinks are cracked.
Oh, really? Where is
Yeah.
the crack?
Right there.
Oh, I did notice that, but I just thought it was a ring.
I used my fingernail on it and it
Ah.
went away.
It's an actual crack. What would cause a crack right there?
I don't know. That's odd. It's right around. It's
Yeah, I've never seen a crack like that. in
yeah,
this-
and the other one has like something dropped something in the other upstairs one.
Okay.
I think a child was doing science experiments, and I can imagine a lot
Yeah.
of science experiments.
So our Romex wiring here should have the BX cable on it.
What you're looking at is under the kitchen sink.
Right. And our high loop on our dishwasher drain line
Should be high.
should be higher. And attaching the dishwasher to the cabinet system.
as you said, the dishwasher isn't attached to anything, so it just wobbles.
Right.
I wonder if they did that to for. I
They're
don't know.
supposed to attach them. So our refrigerator being on a GFCI protected circuit, which it should not be.
No, it should be on its own circuit.
Right. Our microwave on other circuits is not dedicated. It is small, it's portable. It may not apply because it's not a built-in microwave.
Yeah.
And our little bit of settling, you can see on the stairs there. So our one ungrounded outlet that's in the bedroom hallway, fixtures on both sides of that wall.
And this one was a deceitful outlet because it had 3 holes, but it's not grounded
Right. And there's our other correct sink,
in the upstairs bathroom.
main bath, right?
But there was no leaking.
No leaking, right? So here's some of our live Nava 2 wiring right next to the chimney, kind of going back towards the bathroom bedroom area.
You're looking in the attic now.
Right. So this is loose fill rock wool. They call this insulation. It's mineral wool insulation. They're just kind of looking back by the bathroom area over there.
Where is the vent?
That vent sits over here.
I see.
Yeah. So here's knob and tube in the crawl space.
This is the crawl space underneath the main living room.
Right. None of that knob and tube is wide down there. It's all
I
been
see.
abandoned.
Right.
So any of the wood should come out as cellulose debris.
Why is the wood? This is still in the crawl space,
Right.
and the wood is there just
subject
to.
to decay. It was, I don't know what it was for. It was just a couple 2x2s thrown in there.
I see. I wonder if they had it to weigh down the
Sometimes
plastic
people do
sheet.
that.
But they should have used bricks or
Or it
stones
doesn't
or
even need to
something.
be really weighted down
I see.
at all.
If the wind is blowing down there, you have a bigger problem.
Exactly.
Or the
So-
undead rising.
So
Yeah.
the insulation, this has been added. This was never original.
Yeah.
And it says right on here, this side must be towards the floor, the worm side. So you've got it in wrong.
Upside down.
So you can either flip it over or just cut it. It's not really installed very well anyway. What you don't want to have is moisture getting between this vapor barrier and the floor and sitting in insulation.
Yes.
So that's why they flip the vapor barrier upside down
I see.
and put it against the floor. So either flip it over or cut it. And once you cut it, you defeated the vapor barrier and it won't hold moisture then.
I see.
So here's our settling.
And cut it, you mean just get a
With a
box
knife.
cutter and
Right.
slice through this layer?
Right.
Okay.
So we have had some settling, 2 to 3 inches of settling on this wall over here, and it could be, the outside waistline, could be the downspout tightline system.
We don't know when it happened. Like, was it 80 years ago or 20 years ago?
Right, exactly. Nothing currently moving right now, so it was all past settling. So the house never moved. The foundation settled away, and they took up the gap by pushing in material
Yeah.
to take up the space and to help support it. So the house, the flooring did move a little bit. You can tell that, especially in that corner,
Yeah.
it actually has moved some. But it hasn't followed as much as the foundation's dropped.
Right.
So there's the new water line coming in. And that's the old, might have been the oil tank coming in, the vent for the oil tank.
Yeah.
Or actually, you know what, that's probably water line right there. That's what that is. That's the old water line, galvanized water line. So a little bit of movement at that corner, right where the two connected together, a little bit of cracking. at the
Again, the
foundation.
crawl space.
Right. And here's the inside of that crack on that west wall. So it radiated off that corner where that main beam's built into it.
Is that corner crack that we were just looking at, that corner?
That's the outside. That's that corner.
So can we go back to that?
Yes.
Is there any concern about that?
It's cracked. It hasn't moved that I could tell away from each other. It's settled, but it's currently not moving. Kind of what I'm going to say in the report is to monitor this whole thing and just to see if anything moves in the future.
Is there a reason to maybe strap those two corners together, or?
You could, if you saw these kind of moving away from each other,
Mhm.
that would be more of a sign of there's an issue going on. It's moved quite a bit. It's dropped 2 to 3 inches. So
And
that's
we
what's
don't
probably.
really. How can we tell if it's no longer moving?
The definitive way is to have a contractor come in. The problem is, if you have a contractor come in, he's going to sell you
Yeah.
$5,000 or $10,000 in foundation repairs because that's his job. So it's hard to get an unbiased opinion
Mhm.
as to what needs to be done. You know, you could put straps in here to tie it all together. Is it necessary? I honestly don't know
Mhm.
if it is necessary. If you have doubts about it or not feeling comfortable, have a contractor come look at it. You know, and
Right.
just to see what you think to make you feel more comfortable about
Right,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
So. And this is just kind of looking up the outside wall over there. Really no signs of it actually moving over here. This looks real tight.
This is looking south?
Yes, to that corner over there. Right.
Okay.
And you can tell that this is the inner wall, the basement wall. That's actually dropped, you know, it's followed this outside wall. This is this north wall right
Yeah.
here. So this is the stem wall in the basement coming off that too. So. And this CMU wall is not, I don't believe it's part of the original foundation. It looks like it was added at some point, because that's different than the regular poured foundation wall.
Yeah.
So maybe that was their fix when this settled over here and they just replaced this part of the corner.
What does CMU stand for?
It's a cement masonry unit.
I see.
So it's like a block actually.
Yeah.
So the issue with this is there's mortar lines between here, and what you don't want to do is have those degrading and going away, and then that's a route for water to come in.
Right.
It looks fine now. I don't see any signs of water migration. It's just something to watch in the future.
Right.
If you were going to put wall systems and finishes completely off, you'd really want to make sure that that did not have any, you know, areas of voids or anything or leaking.
The fact that they're unfinished means that we can detect water at its first moment, whereas if they were
A
behind...
wall system, it would take a while for the water to come out.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.